Hi everyone, how's everyone doing here today? And today I briefly wanted to talk about stochastic terrorism, which I'm sure it's a term you had. And basically, it's violent rhetoric that stirs up extremists to commit violent or terroristic acts, something we've seen a lot on and off in the news lately. Obviously, our prime example is January 6th, where Trump ordered a bunch of supporters to go down there based on a whole bunch of election lies, which still haven't been proven, zero evidence, and pretty much said, we are going to take our country back, which some supporters still trying he said it was a peaceful protest. It's coded language. Yeah, on the surface he said peaceful, but he knew perfectly well what he was doing, getting people riled up, to fight like hell. At one point he said, I don't know if that was in a tweet or something. And it's something he's also tried to do ever since, given his legal woes are slowly closing in on him. And the good news is it hasn't really been having as much as an impact as I thought, though we still hear about it from time to time from some other politicians, which I'll get into. Another recent example, which didn't go so well, was when he was indicted in New York City. And there were some protesters at Trump Tower and some that showed up at the courthouse, which I talked about before. Marjorie Taylor Greene was there, and she got drowned out in boos and whistles, and she was forced to flee. And things got a little rough, but the NYPD was there to keep things under control. I'm sure they anticipated there might be some trouble. And there were some protesters there on behalf of Trump, but not a whole lot. It was far less crowd than anticipated. Marjorie Taylor Greene, because she couldn't get her hateful rhetoric and bigotry across, she was forced to, flee early. And then, like all these cowards, she played the victim. Like, oh, woe was me. You were there for a purpose, it didn't work, you failed, so now you're going to whine about it and make excuses. And now in Miami was the recent indictment for the documents case, which I mentioned up briefly. I'm not going to get into that still. I haven't even read the indictment, I've only read snippets of it. The merits of the case, some may open that up to debate, how the case is going to unfold. I have no idea. Again, I'm not going to speculate on that one. But he did put out a similar message, I don't remember specifically what he said, to get down there and stuff and, try and drum up some hostility, amongst his supporters. And unfortunately there are some extremists out there who may or may not be willing to do that. Some have put posts out there. One person, plain unknown, went off about, we gotta take our country back, we gotta put God back in country, and just give the order, this and that. And then recently, Kari Lake, after her failed attempt of running for governor of Arizona, and is doing really absolutely nothing but scamming campaigners because she has no job, and she's using donations to back up her trips and everything. She's not even running for everything. So why some of you keep donating to her is beyond me. During a gathering of supporters, I don't know where, she put out a statement with that if they were going to get through to Trump, because she's constantly licking his boots, perhaps in the hopes of one day being a VP candidate, assuming he even gets that far. He said they're going to have to go through her and 75 million Americans who happen to be card-carrying members of the NRA, to which he closed it as, it's not a threat, but a public announcement. Of course, she directed it towards Biden and some others, and the fake news, which she likes to throw around because she is so all about truth or everything like that. Was that a threat? To me, it absolutely was. Now, I'm no legal scholar. I don't know how that would fall, whether or not protected by the First Amendment. But, it's not like they are going to directly say, okay, we want you to go down there, bring guns, and start mayhem and firing because you got to save your president. No, it's, they do it in a subtle, coded-like fashion in the hopes of getting people going down there to drum up violence, commit acts of domestic terrorism. The good news is in Miami-Dade, from what I saw briefly in the news, nothing like that happened. There were no acts of violence. There were protesters there, and I'm sure there were also counter-protesters there, and I'm sure there were a few verbal spats. I didn't hear of any or see any physical altercations break out between protesters and counter-protesters or the police. And just to be clear, regardless of who you're doing it for, on whose behalf, I have nothing against peaceful protests. You do it in accordance with the law. If you show up there just to, speak your voice, First Amendment, and, support who you want to support, or, speak out against who you want to speak out against in a peaceful fashion, I'm okay with that. That's fine. And I saw them there, Trump supporters, all in full decorated cosplay with the capes, the hats, the ridiculous costumes. One guy had a pig's head, not a real one, of course, up on a stick. I have no idea what that's supposed to symbolize or what that even means. Don't ask. I don't know. Maybe in reference to Lord of the Flies. Who knows? Fine. You want to go out there and make fools of yourselves? Be my guest. But the minute you decide to bring a firearm with the intent of using it, the intent of doing something, because you feel you got to rescue your president, well, guess what? And I'm being sincere when I say this. I would recommend you have 3 things in advance, all set, before you did that. Are you ready? Okay? I'm being serious. Make sure you have a good life insurance policy, that it's in order, that all the beneficiary or beneficiaries are established. Make sure you have a last will and testament as well. And most importantly, just in case, make sure you have a good lawyer on retainer. Why do I say that? I'm not trying to be silly. I'm saying if you commit acts of domestic terrorism, more than likely you have 1 or 2 outcomes. You're either going to get killed, find yourself in an early grave, or you're going to get arrested, depending on the charges, depending on what exactly you do. It is not worth it. This has nothing to do with how I feel about Trump. I've made that perfectly clear. This has nothing to do with me. I'm not trying to tell anyone who you should support or not support. If you're going to support Trump to the end in 2024, that's fine. That is your choice. If he makes it that far and is able to run and you decide to vote for him, again, that is your choice. I have to respect that. I won't agree with it, but I do have to respect that. What I don't want to see is stupid people doing things reckless that are going to put themselves in harm's way. On top of that, ask yourself this question. What is Kari Lake going to do? I mean, prior to that event, what did you think she was going to do? Was she really going to show up at the courthouse with a piece in hand, ready to do a standoff against, if, let's say Trump gets convicted, what is she going to do? Is she going to do some kind of standoff against the Miami-Dade police or the military? She's not going to do a damn thing, because she is a liar, she is a bigot, she is an absolute coward, and she has no spine. She is a whole lot of talk. She feels very emboldened when she's in a crowd, or she's on Fox getting tossed softball easy questions, but in reality, she's got no backbone. She's not going to do a damn thing. She just wants to keep licking Trump's boots and hope that one day she'll get the VP nomination. Good luck with that. Because you failed in Arizona, and I don't see you making it on a nationwide scale as far as any type of VP candidate or candidate for that. Because we see most people, most sane, rational people, see exactly what you are. And the same thing applies to Donald Trump. The fact that, every time he tries to stoke violence, that you're seeing fewer and fewer crowds of less people and nobody doing anything, I think now I'm confident that after January 6th, a lot of them got the message. Thinking maybe this is not such a good idea. Because let's say you manage to survive and get arrested. He's not going to pay any of your legal bills or anything like that. They're not going to come to your aid. They're not going to come to your rescue. They're going to be like, hey, better them than me, all right? These people aren't going to do anything. So when they try and drum up violence in however subtle or coded way, don't buy into it. Really, don't buy into it, because, here's what's going to happen in 2024. And I'm just speculating here. Whether or not Trump makes it, that is yet to be seen. Let's pretend, for argument's sake, he does. Okay, he's going to lose to Biden again, and when he does, we know for a fact he's going to scream foul. He's going to whine like the sore loser that he is, and he's going to try and drum up some more action. Say, look, they're stealing the election again. They're trying to take your country away from you. The Biden crime family, this and that. And this has got absolutely nothing to do with Biden. I'm not so much talking to him. I'm just talking about Trump's reactions in any given situation, being the lying coward that he is. If it reaches that point, there is one key difference that greatly works in his disadvantage is, well, for the obvious, he doesn't have the power of the presidency behind him anymore. So You can bet that after the election, when it comes to certifying, and he will have the Capitol Police out there in full force, and you can bet they're not going to take anything lightly. I've talked about this before. You can bet he's going to have the National Guard out there as well, just in case. And it's not just Biden, it's other governors across the nation. You know, I would imagine they're going to, you know, maybe batten down the hatches just slightly, not in an extreme way, but just say, be on guard. Because in case anyone tries to do something stupid, we want to, you know, neutralize the threat as quickly as possible. And hopefully not have to, you know, resort to bloodshed. But you can bet they're not going to take any acts of, you know, domestic terrorism lightly. So, like I said, whether it be now or, you know, come election time, and anywhere in between, you decide you're going to do something stupid because you feel outraged, because you've been gaslit once too often, because you're in this echo chamber of lies, you know, from, you know, corrupt MAGA members on the GOP. Well, guess what? You know, it's not going to end well for you. So I'm saying this respectfully. If you get any ideas of doing something violent, do you, your friends and family a favor. Don't. Support who you want, vote who you want. You know, speak out as you're ever which within your First Amendment rights. When you start making threats or intend to carry out threats, good luck to you, because you're going to need it. So, Carrie Lake, what is she going to do? Not a damn thing. In fact, Carrie, I wish you would just shut up. Because you are an absolute disgrace to this country. As for Donald Trump, I'll ask, like I said, two simple questions. You know, for those of you still twisting yourself in mental gymnastics to make excuses and defend him yet again. Why'd you take the documents to begin with? And why didn't you just give them back when you had the chance? He had a choice, he could have made it so much easier for him, and now he's in his pickle. And he has only himself to blame. Make up all the excuses you want. In the end, he has only himself to blame. So be smart, be cool, and let's see how things play out within this trial. Okay? Anyway, thank you for watching. I really hope you understand.